Bonsoir, mes amis. Comment allez-vous? Avec Dima?
Très bien.
Merci. Pardon. Vous ne comprenez pas français? Espagnol? No. Allemand? Oh, no. Chinois? No. Solamente anglais. Oui. Welcome to the Carnegie Players. Poirot investigates. I am your French interpreter. And we hope you've enjoyed your evening and your dinner and enjoyed the play. Bonsoir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we provide for your entertainment stories by Boys, we talk about this. You are to be introduced. However, you're not to do it at the same time. The translators, I came or something like that. Now, we have two stories. You are first. You, then you. Now, repeat after me. You, then you. Repeat, then you. Now, ladies, these are the actors. Look, it's very, very simple. You announce your story. You announce yours. Please, do not show anybody the nose. Okay? You, sir, are only the jewel. You're just cheap. Carry on. Welcome to tonight's entertainment. We are the Carnegie Players. If you need to use the restroom during the show, it's directly through the door at the back of the room. First door to the left, ladies on the right, gentlemen to the left. In case of emergency, there are exits in the back of the building, where you entered, and over the wings. Sides. Does anyone here have a cell phone? If you do, can you pull it out and put it in the basket as it passes? No, I'm just kidding. But as long as you have it out, please silence it. I appreciate it. The actors appreciate it. Person sitting next to you, they really appreciate it. Tonight's play has been taken from the public domain. You are free to take pictures, video, please no flash photography. But without further ado, we present Jewelry Robbery at the Grand Metropolitan in England.
The story, it's in France.
My story is in England.
But I've already set the stage for the Grand Metropolitan in Cali.
Don't look at me, I'm not changing it now.
You just carry on and the audience will never notice.
That's ridiculous. The Grand Metropolitan is in London. Everyone knows that.
Well, now the Grand Metropolitan is in France. It will be like what does it say? The Disney World. A mouse in every house.
I give up. The jewelry robbery at the Grand Metropolitan in France.
One day, while Poirot and I were relaxing in our room, parents would do us all the good in the world. Poirot reluctantly accepted, saying, quote, that the good heart is in the end worth all the little gray cells. The dresses are marvelous, and the jewels, although some worn more for the love of show than taste, are really fabulous.
It is a sight, this is the home of the public barons, is it not, is
Yes, it's supposed to be. Let's hope they're not all tarred with the profiteering brush.
The sight of so many jewels makes me wish I had turned my brains to crime instead of to its detection. Regard, Hastings, that woman by the kennel. She is, as you would say, plastered with gems.
Are you sure it's Jed? Why, that's Mrs. Olson.
You know,
Slightly. Her husband is a rich stockbroker who made a fortune in the recent oil boom. Mrs. Olson, may I introduce Mr. Poirot?
Mrs. Olson, I could not help but to notice the magnificent jewelry that adorns your neck.
Surely that's not the only thing you noticed about the lovely Mrs. Olson.
Oh, never mind, Mr. Hastings. I simply adore jewelry. Ed knows my weaknesses, and every time things go well, he brings me something new. Do you fancy precious stones?
I fancy opals.
I have had a good deal to do with them at one time or another. My profession has brought me into contact with some of the most famous jewels in the world.
Well, their outfit isn't just like a play. I have some pearls of my own with a history attached to them. I believe it's one of the finest necklaces in the world. The pearls are so perfectly colored and so beautifully matched. I declare I must run up and get them for you.
Oh, madam, pray do not put yourself out on money.
But I would really love to show you.
Sir, your wife is so amiable as to insist on showing me her pearl necklace.
Ah, yes, the pearls. Well, they are something to look at. Cost a pretty penny, too. Still, the money's there all right. Why, I could get what I paid for them back any day. Probably more. May have to. If things continue on as they are now, what with money becoming so tight in the city, and all these confounded taxes. Hey, what? I'll come right along. Not taking ill, is she? Excuse me, gentlemen.
Good evening, madams and messieurs. Tonight we provide for your entertainment
We did
stories.
that. We did that.
But this is the beginning of my play.
The introductions are before my play.
But I've already started.
I will prove it. I will prove it.
Could have sworn. What is he doing?
Right there. Top of page 4. Directly into the play.
Well, without further ado, the cheap suite.
So far, in the cases I've recorded, Poirot's investigations start from the central fact, whether murder or robbery, and proceed from thence by the process of logical deduction to the final triumphant unraveling. And a remarkable chain of events led from the apparently trivial incidents which first attracted Poirot's attention to the sinister happenings which completed a most unusual case. You see, at that moment, I noticed, right over there, an old friend of mine, Gerald Parker. Houses and suites were a special hobby of Mr. Parker's.
Talking of sweets, have you heard about these about Mr. Poirot? You know our trouble recently of moving and finding a hobby. We found a place in the grand mythology.
Well, I only said that there are plenty of sweets at a price, of course.
Yeah, but this isn't our price. It's basically Dutch. Now, how much did I say it was on? 2,000 francs a year?
This Grand Metropolitan? Are you talking of some poor relation in the slums somewhere?
This very much. It's what makes it so wonderful.
One is the one. Why, it's a blinking miracle. Oh, but there must be a catch. A big premium, I suppose.
No premium.
No premium. Oh, keep me steady, somebody.
But I simply remember we need to buy the furniture.
I knew there was a catch.
For only 1,000 francs and it's usually finished.
I get it. The good arguments must be lunatics with a taste for philanthropy.
It's strange, isn't it? You don't think that place is haunted?
I've never heard of a haunted suite. Do the ghosts they have?
No, it makes it strange at all. It makes it, well,
For instance,
Our criminal expert attention is piqued. Hastings is a great unravel of mysteries. Unburden yourself to me.
not really strange, Hastings. But we went to the agent, Danny and Freddie. You know Max and Remax. They mentioned a suite at 2,000. Well, we were sure it was snapped up. We had things we quite understood. It probably no good, and we just left. We came straight to the taxi for, after all, you may never know. The suite was on the top floor. As we were waiting for a lift, a friend of mine, Elise Ferguson, she came hurrying down the stairs. She said the place was no good and it was left up. And it was cheap, however, and we couldn't afford her. So we thought, how to buy it with a premium? A hard thing to do, of course.
I assure you that I'm well aware of the struggle for house room, and that the baser side of human nature usually triumphs over the higher. And the age-old rule of dog eat dog has always applied.
So we went up, and would you believe it? The cheap suite was still available. The mistress allowed us immediate concessions. You're moving tomorrow!
And what about Mrs. Ferguson?
No, not her again.
Let's have your deductions, Hastings.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. Oops, wrong detective. She went to the wrong suite.
Oh, Captain Hastings, how clever of you!
I was rather glad that the world had been there for this conversation. I sometimes feel he rather underestimates my capabilities.
A curious story, Hastings. Excuse me. I must take a short stroll.
We interrupt this show to bring you our regularly scheduled program. The jewelry robbery already in progress.
Oh, bro, have the Olsons come back yet?
No, they will not be back. But the police have arrived late as always.
The police?
Mon ami, your lack of But the page, she does not do it. And see here, a distraught waiter, and to make a waiter distray, the affair must indeed be that of the first magnitude.
Now, after a short commercial break, we will return to jewelry robbery.
Absolutely not. Did you not listen to the director? First you send me.
Every other scene. That wasn't a scene, that was 3 sentences.
Length does not matter. You are in. It's my turn.
It's gonna interrupt the flow of this. Tell you what, rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins gets the next scene.
Evidently, it is my right, but if we must resort to such childish measures, so be it.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Crap.
Paper covers rock, I
This game makes no sense. How does a paper destroy a rock?
win. And now we return to the jewelry robbery at the Grand Metropolitan. In France.
There now, that may say what he likes, but I believe in luck, I do. It was fated that I should meet you the way I did this evening, Mr. Crow, and I believe if you can't get my pearls back from me, nobody can.
Calm yourself, Mrs. Olson, and reassure yourself. All will be well. Hercule Poirot will aid you.
Excuse me. There'll be no objections to me calling in this fellow, I suppose.
None at all, sir. Now, perhaps a little sweet. Perhaps you let us have just the facts. Compose yourself and recount to us the entire history without agitating yourself. And please, just the facts, ma'am.
Well, I came upstairs after dinner to fetch my pearls for Mr. Crow to see. The chambermaid and Celestine were in the room as usual.
Excuse me, madame, but what do you mean by as usual?
I make it a rule that nobody is to come into the room unless Celestine the maid is there also. Now the chambermaid comes in to do the room in the morning with Celestine present, and then returns after dinner to turn down the bed under the same condition. Otherwise, she is never to enter the room.
Well, as I was saying, gentlemen, I came upstairs, I went over to the drawer here, I took out my jewel case, I unlocked it. It seemed quite as usual, but my pearls just weren't there.
Now, why have you lost sleep?
They were there when I went down to dinner.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure.
Well, then, who looked at the jewels?
I did, I always been key.
The thing must have had a duplicate. It's no good matter. The lock is not a simple one. And so, what did you do after you locked the jewels?
I put it back in the bottom drawer where I always keep it.
And you didn't lock the drawer?
No, there's no need. My maid remains in the room until I come up, so.
So, and all to understand that the jewels were there when you went down to dinner. I don't see how that would help us if the maid never left the room. Evidently, as Mademoiselle insists that she did not leave the room.
I should hope not, indeed. That French pussy ought to be ashamed of herself for taking away the honest gal's character.
There, my girl. That's all right. Nobody suspects. You go on and get on with your work.
Going to search her?
Yes, yes.
Nothing other than stockings and an undergarment.
So, nothing was done. See, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to come with me, miss. I'm sorry, but all the evidence points to that. If she hasn't got them on her, they're hidden somewhere about the room.
No!
We on the phone. I assure you it is that you do not resist. Monsieur, a small experiment, purely for my satisfaction. Depends on what the experiment is. Mademoiselle, you said that you left the room to fetch a reel of cotton. Where is it?
On the chest of the drawers, monsieur.
And the scissors?
They also.
Mademoiselle, would you mind repeating your actions? Merci, mademoiselle. And to you, sir, for the courtesy. You said that the jewels were insured.
Why, yes, they were. But what does that matter?
My pearls I want, no money can replace them.
Oh, I understand perfectly, madam. That's it. I found you. It was in the maid's bed, hidden in the wide springs. But I'm afraid I'll have to take that in the evidence. So, madam, it will be returned to you as soon as possible.
I don't take it, and
Shall we slip away, mon ami? I think our work here is finished. I'd like to see the empty room next door. Oh, well. The service needs to be desired.
Well, why don't we come in here anyway?
Oh, chef de pardon. I merely wanted to see if the room was indeed bolted from the other side.
It's bolted. But I don't see what it matters. The case is over anyway. Honestly, I wish you'd have more of an opportunity to distinguish yourself. But even that stiff-backed idiot of an inspector can go wrong with this one.
Well, the case is not over, my friend. The case will not be over until we find out who stole the birds.
The maid did it.
Now, why do you say that?
Well, they were found, actually, in her bed.
Those were not
What?
imitation, mon ami. The good inspector, he knows nothing about jewels. Soon there will be a fine hurry.
Come, we must tell the Olsons at once.
I think not.
But that poor woman.
Yes, that poor woman will sleep better tonight, believing that her jewels are safe.
But the thief might escape.
Oh, mon ami, again you speak without reflection.
French hotel has hired all English staff. And the foreign maid is the French one in France.
Yeah, maybe. The Oglesons brought the maid with them.
From England? That makes it worse.
Isn't it my town anyway?
I suppose it is.
Eh bien, mesdames et messieurs, it is my honor to introduce to you the next scene of the Cheap Street. Fire.
See, I told you, this makes no sense. The French hotel has hired an all-English staff, and the French maid is the foreign one?
You see, maybe, just maybe, the Oglesons brought the maid with them.
From England?
Isn't it my town anyway?
I suppose it is.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are allowed to see what's been happening in the Cheap Suite.
It is well that we do not have any great affairs at hand. We can devote ourselves entirely to the present investigation.
What investigation are you talking about?
The remarkable genius of your friends, Mrs. Robinson's new suite.
Bro, you can't be serious.
I am most serious. Figure to yourself, Emily, that the real rent of that suite is 2,200 francs. I have ascertained this from the landlord's agents. But this particular room is being sublet at 500 francs. Why?
There must be something wrong with it. Perhaps it is haunted, as Mrs. Robinson said.
Then again, how curious it is that your friend tells us the room is let, and when she goes up, it is not so at all.
Surely, you agree with me that the other woman had to have gone to the wrong suite. That's the only possible solution.
You may or may not be right on that point, Hastings. The fact still remains that numerous other applicants were sent to see that room, and in spite of its astonishing cheapness, it was still on the market when Mrs. Robinson arrived.
That just shows there's something wrong with it.
And Mrs. Robinson did not seem to notice anything amiss. Very curious, is it not? Does she impress you as a truthful woman, Hastings?
She's a delightful creature.
Heaven forbid, as she renders you incapable of replying to my question. Describe as it to me.
Well, she's tall and fair. Well, her hair is a beautiful shade of auburn.
Always you have the penchant for the auburn hair woman. But continue.
Blue eyes, nice complexion. That's all, I think.
And your husband?
Oh, he's a very nice fellow. Nothing noticeable.
Dark or fair?
I don't know, betwixt and between. Just an ordinary sort of face.
Yes, there are hundreds of these average men about. And anyhow, bring more sympathy and appreciation to your description of women. Tell me, Hastings, what do you know about these people? Does Parker also know?
I think just make near acquaintances. Why, seriously, you don't suggest
Too smart, Melanie. Have I said that? I said anything? All I say is, it is a very curious story, and there is nothing to shine light upon it. her name, that is.
Her name's Stella, but I don't see.
And Stella means a star, does it not, Hastings?
Thanks.
What on earth are you talking
And stars give light. Do not put on the air of injured dignity, Hastings. Come, let us make some inquiry. Excuse me? Do the Robinsons here?
Yes, top floor.
One moment. Could you tell me how long they have resided here?
6 months.
Are you sure? You must be making a mistake.
6 months.
The lady I mean is tall and fair and reddish gold hair.
Yeah, that's just 6 months ago they came, in the middle of school.
Yeah, Hastings? Are you so sure now that delightful women always speak the truth?
What's your plan? Where do we go?
To the house agents, Hastings. I have a sudden desire to take a room in the Grand Metropolitan Hotel. If I am not mistaken, several interesting things will be taking place before long.
We were fortunate in our request. Number 8 on the 4th floor was to be let furnished for 250 francs a week. Poirot promptly took it for a month.
Number 8 is ours for a month, Hastings, and at only 250 francs per week. That is a buy.
Why waste the money?
But I make money nowadays. Why should I not indulge in beer? By the way, Hastings, have you ever gone?
Yes. Somewhere. Do you think I'll need it?
That we will need it. It is very possible. As the idea pleases you, I see always the spectacular and the romantic appeals to you. Come, look over the banister. Are those your friends? Do not let them see.
Yes, that's them.
Oh, look, there's the master and the mistress. C'est ça, the maid. The flashy now.
What are we going to do?
We are about to descend after the method of the Gospels. No one will observe us. The Sunday concert, the Sunday afternoon out, the Sunday dinner after the Sunday dinner of the roast beef. All of these will extract from the doings at your Poirot. Come, my friend.
Are we going to break into the flat? Not precisely.
You observe? Never do they bolt these doors during the daytime. Anyone can ascend or descend as we have done. No, only at night, and not always then. It is against that we will make provision. Hastings, shall I recount to you a little history, a story after your own heart, which will remind you of your favorite cinema?
Go ahead. I'm sure it's a true story, not one of your attempts at fancy.
It is true enough. About a little over 6 months ago, some important naval plans were stolen that would fetch a considerable sum by any foreign government. Suspicion fell upon a young man by the name of Luigi Verdano, an Italian by birth, who went missing about the same time as the papers. Miss Elsa Hart. In reality, it is to be believed that she is an accomplished international criminal who had been consorting with some insignificant Japanese businessmen. One of them left for Paris about a fortnight ago. Now, on the face of it, it seems that Miss Elsa Hart is in Paris. Her official description is height, 5'7", eyes blue, hair auburn, fair complexion, nose straight.
Mrs. Robinson.
No, there is a chance of it anyhow. Just this morning, I saw a swarthy man, a foreigner of some kind, inquiring about the occupants of the top floor. Therefore, mon ami, I fear you must forswear your beauty sleep tonight and join me in my all-night vigil in the sweet biglow. Armed with that excellent revolver of yours, bien entendu.
Rather, when do we start?
I think the hour of midnight is both solemn and suitable, I fancy. Nothing is likely to occur before then. Now, we have but to wait.
And now we return to the jewelry robbery at the Grand Metropolitan.
Sakura Blue, we cannot. It's the middle of my play. It's a crescendo, as you say. We cannot go back to a dull English affair.
You must remember, my affair is no longer English. You made it French.
Well, carry on with it then, because I am, as they say, on the pins and needles.
And now the jewelry robbery at the Grand Metropolitan. In France.
Oh, excuse me, mademoiselle. Can you let us into the officer's room? One moment. Have you seen a card like this among Mr. Okerson's belongings?
No, sir, but the valet has most of the gentleman's rings.
Merci. Rings a bell 3 times for the valet. Once more. Have you seen a card like this among Mr. Okerson's effects? No, sir. Yes. And the necklace was totally insured. Pearl, I see you see nothing, my friend. As usual, nothing at all. Well, let us return back to our homes. The real work, the work of the brain, is done.
One day, Pearl, you're going to come apart.
Yes. Could you wipe off the sleeve of my jacket? Some powder clung to it from earlier.
Powder?
French chalk. Cabinet makers use it.
You old sinner. I thought it was something exciting.
And now, at last, the air of cliffs can be free, the cheap suite, the waiting
To me, the waiting seemed endless. I was terrified of falling asleep. Just when, to me, it seemed like it had been here 8 hours and had, I was told afterwards, been exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes, a faint scratching sound came to my ears. Poirot touched my arm. I rose, and together we made in the direction of the hall where the sound came from. Poirot whispered to me,
When I give the word and not before, you will spring on them from behind and hold them fast. Be careful, they will have a saw.
Presently, there was a rending sound, and a small circle of light appeared through the door. It was extinguished immediately. The door slowly opened. Poirot and I situated ourselves against the wall. I heard a man's breathing as he passed by us. He flicked on his torch, and when he did so, I jerked out my revolver where he could see it.
It's useless! Just a maybe! Yours from the witness! The precipice of my demise!
When the captive ceased struggling, Poirot put his lips close to his ears and began to whisper quickly. The captive nodded, and in the enduring silence, with the motion of the hand, Poirot led us downstairs back to our suites. Our captive followed, and I led the rear with the revolver. When we got back to our rooms, Poirot turned to me.
Give me the revolver. You will not need it now.
But what if he tries to escape?
He will not try to escape.
She's not Asian.
Observation was always your strong suit. Nothing escapes you, Hastings. No, she is not Asian. She is Italian.
Sì, molte grazie!
And now we come to the thrilling conclusion of the jewelry robbery.
The conclusion is not thrilling. It is a bunch of boring monologue spoken by even more boring men in overstuffed lobby chairs.
Don't be jealous, we've reached the end of mine first.
Jealous? Far from it. Skip back to my scene. It has real action in it.
Wild horses would not change my setting.
Well, you could sit.
Shall we make a coin toss?
Absolutely not. You will not fool me with your dumb child's game again. I cannot afford to lose in front of you guys again.
Oh yes, we have an audience, don't we? Say, should we give them a moment's silence? This is their last chance to figure out who the thieves are.
Perhaps. It seems the audience and I are confused enough.
Well, in that case, the conclusion of the jewelry robbery at the Grand Metropolitan.
Mon ami Hastings! Embrace me, my friend! All has much to be marveled.
Fortunately, that embrace is figurative. No one's ever sure with you, Poirot. Do you mean that?
Just wonderful, I tell you. Didn't I tell you, Ed, that if Mr. Poirot couldn't get my pearls back for me, no one could?
You did, my baby. And you were right.
My friend Hastings is on its 6s and 7s, as you would say. Please be seated, and I will tell you recount to you the entire affair that has so happily ended.
Ended?
May we say have been arrested.
Who's been arrested?
The valet and the chambermaid. Did you not suspect, not even my hint about the French charm?
You said cabinet makers use it.
Certainly, to make the drawers slide easily. Now, somebody wanted those drawers to slide in and out without making any noise. Who is that? Obviously, only the chambermaid. It was a plan so ingenious that it did not immediately lead to the end. Not even to the end of after a while. At least, I will tell you what is it. The valet was in the empty room next door, waiting. The French girl, she leaves the room, and then, quick as a flash, the chambermaid reaches open the door, takes out the jewelry case, and sliding back the boat, passes it through the door. The valet opens the jewelry case with the duplicate key he has provided himself. He does this at his leisure. He extracts the necklace and he waits his time. The French girl leaves the room again. Then, quick as a flash, the jewelry case is passed back through and replaced in the drawer.
Ingenious.
Madame arrives, the seven is discovered, and as the chambermaid demands to be searched with righteous indignation, and she leaves the room without a stain on her character. She leaves the room without a stain on her character, yes. Then, the duplicate necklace with which they had provided themselves had been that morning concealed in the French girl's bed. A masterstroke.
Yes, but...
you remember the guy?
yes, I do. It puzzled me, and it puzzles me still.
Yes, unbelievable for the sake of the ballet. The card was one specially prepared for fingerprints. I had it sent away straight to Scotland Yard, old friend Inspector Jack. As I suspected, the fingerprints proved to be those of two well-known jewel thieves who had been wanted for some time. Jack came down, the thieves were arrested, and the necklace was found in the valet's possession. Clever pair. But they failed in method. Now, have I not told you, Hastings, at least 36 times, that without method...
At least 36,000 times. But where did their method break down?
It is a good plan to take a place as a chambermaid or as a valet, but you must not share they left an empty room undusted, and therefore, when the man set down the jewelry case on the little table next to the communicating door, it left a square mark.
I remember.
Before I was undecided, then I knew.
And I've got my pearls.
Let us depart, my dear.
Well, I want my dinner. This ought to be kudos for you.
Jack will divide the credit between himself and the local inspector. But I have a check from Mr. Olson tonight.
finale, the climax. It's the last line as the magnus opus. The end of the cheap sweet in the book.
And he says, I talk too much.
I didn't want to ask Poirot where we were going in front of our captive, so I strove in vain to obtain some light upon the proceedings. We went up to the second floor, and we all three of us went to door number 205. Poirot knocked on it and motioned us to stand a little to the side.
I was the doctor! My wife has taken years!
What in the devil do you want?
You must come! My wife is here! I will have the release of you! Come!
No, for heaven's sake, don't do that!
Quickly, in here! You, hide behind the secretary.
Ah, si, senor. Because nobody pays attention to the lady behind the curtain.
Has anyone seen my husband? And who the hell are you?
I'm sure your husband will be well. I saw him in the slippers and the warm dressing gown.
Who are you and what are you doing in my house?
It is true, we have not had the pleasure of your acquaintance. It is especially to be regretted because one of our members has come all the way from New York in order to see you.
What are you talking about? Let me know a single word of it!
Dio mio, who was it that dropped? Was it Luigi Galgano?
My God, bro, this is awful. What do we do?
You will oblige me by refraining from talking so much, Hastings. I assure you that our friend from New York will not fire until I get the word.
No, this is so sure, right?
What is it you guys want from me?
Oh, I do not think it is necessary to insult your intelligence, Miss Elsa Hart.
They're stitching me the line.
Clever girl. Good evening, madam. I will detain your new friend from New York whilst you make your getaway.
Later, dears.
Mamma mia, what a fool! She's gone to school in her own trailer. So, paisano! That's a crazy, crazy countryman!
Never will you trust your old friend, Hastings. I do not like the idea of a friend walking around with a loaded revolver. Never will I permit a mere acquaintance to do so.
But che cosa? Rapido? I say rapido! That means hurry up!
No, mon ami, see what I have done for you. I have saved you from being hanged. And do not think a beautiful lady will escape. No. The hotel is being washed back and front. Straight into the arms of the police, she will go. Is that not a lovely and consoling thought?
Maybe.
Yes, you may leave, sir.
You know what I was going to do? I was going to make a wish. I was going to throw the coin in the fountain, and I was going to make a big, huge wish. Più grandiosa. Now, I go to the arrivederci.
is not so unusual. The name said.
There's nothing unusual about the name Robinson. It's a very common name.
Oh, Sapristi, but exactly that was the point. Miss Elsa and her brother or her husband or whoever he really is, they come from New York and they take a room in the name of Mr. and Mrs. Robinson. They take a room in the name of Mr. and Mrs. Robinson. Suddenly, they learn that one of the secret societies, the Mafia or the Camorra, or to which doubtless Luigi Valdano belong, is on their track. What do? They hit upon a scheme of transparent simplicity. Evidently, they know that their pursuers were not personally acquainted with either one of them. What could then be simpler? They offer the suite at a ridiculously low rate. Of the thousands of young couples in Paris looking for suites, there cannot fail but to be several Robinsons. It is only a matter of waiting. If you will look at the name of Robinson in the telephone directory, you will see that a fair-haired Mrs. Robinson is pretty soon to come along, sooner or later. What happens then? The Avenger arrives. He knows the name. He knows the address. He strikes. All is over. Vengeance is satisfied, and Miss Elsa Hart escapes by the skin of her teeth once again. That must be our old friend, Inspector Jack, and his friends around.
How did you know this address? Oh, of course. You had the first Mrs. Robinson followed when she left the other suite.
Out of my nerve, Instincts! You use your little gray cells at last. And now for a little surprise for Inspector Jack.
One of your little jokes, I don't like it.
Our friends safe and sound?
I got them all right, but they don't have the evidence with them.
I see. So you have come to search.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to depart with my friend Hastings, but first I should like to give you a little lecture about the habits and history of the domestic cat.
Have you gone completely army?
Well, the cat was revered by the ancient Egyptians. In fact, they still consider it a sign of good fortune when a black cat crosses your path. This cat crossed your path tonight, Jack. To speak of the interior of an animal or a person is not, I know, considered bad. But the interior of this animal is perfectly good. I refer, of course, to the nine. This weekend is not gone according to plan, these things. I'll say you, why don't we retire to my friend's country cottage and do some fresh air? At my expense.
And now we have reached the end of two stories and the end of Act
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will take a
1. 5,
15-minute,
10.
15
Let me see.
march.
Eeny, 15-minute intermission.
Yes.
Don't forget the lights and lights. You've reserved concessions, I see. I couldn't eat that if I were you.
No, mon ami, that's going fast.
No, never mind. You know, it is not often that you see in the same show a Poirot of one gender and a Poirot of a different gender.
Some may say, why is your name? You never see it.
No, you never see it. But you will see it tonight because this is the Carnegie Players, and that's what we've got prepared. So, we present the chocolate box.
And like this chocolate box?
No, don't be ridiculous. No one names their entire show off of the main clue. It's a red herring.
Clearly, it's a blue box.
It is a blue box. The chocolate box.
It was a wild night. Outside, the wind howled malevolently, and the rain beat against the windows in great gusts. On my side of the table stood a carefully brewed hot toddy. On Poirot was a cup of thick, rich chocolate. I would not have drunk for 100 pounds.
Cannot well be.
Yes, it's a good old world. Here am I with a job, and a good job too. Here you are, famous,
Mon ami.
but you are. And rightly so. When I look back on your long line of successes, I am positively amazed. I don't think you know what failure is.
Oh, she would be a droll kind of original who could say that.
No, seriously. Have you ever failed?
Innumerable times, my friend. What would you? Love on chance? She cannot always be on your side. I have been called into late. Very often another, working towards the same purpose, has arrived several. Twice have I been stricken down with illness, just as I was on the point of success. One must take the downs with the ups, my friend.
That's not quite what I meant.
No?
I meant, have you ever been completely down and out of a race through your own fault?
I comprehend. You ask if I have ever acted the boat. Once. Just once, my friend. I made a fool of myself. Miss Lemon? Returns this to me when I require. Only when I require. Now, see here, my friend. I know you have kept a record of my little successes. You shall add one more story to the collection. That of a failure. The story of which I tell you takes place in Belgium, many years ago. It was at the time of the terrible struggle in France between church and state. At the time, Monsieur Paul de was a French deputy of note. He was in many ways a peculiar man, though he could drink no smoke, he was nevertheless not so scrupulous otherwise. You comprehend this? Yet des femmes, toujours de femmes. He had married a young lady from Brussels some years earlier. But there were no children of this marriage. And his wife died after 2 years as a result of a fall. His sudden death, on the other hand, took place after dinner, and it was attributed to heart failure. At the time, Molly, I was, as you know, a member of the Belgian Detective Force. It was as my vacation had just begun that I received a visitor to my apartment, a lady, Evelyn Baird. You are Hercule Poirot of the Detective Service? Pray, be seated, mademoiselle. I understand that you're now on vacation. Therefore, you will have time to take on a private case. You do understand I do not wish to call in the police. I am afraid that what you are asking is impossible. Even though on vacation, I am still of the police. Okay, too, mademoiselle. All I ask is that you investigate. The results of your investigation, you are at perfect liberty to share with the police. That, if what I believe to be true is true, we are going to need all the machinery of the law. That placed a somewhat different complexion on the matter. I placed myself at her service without much of it. Thank you, mademoiselle. It is the death of Monsieur Paul Delaware I ask you to investigate. Continue, mademoiselle. I have nothing to go on but my woman's instinct, but I am certain, I tell you, that Monsieur Paul Delaware did not die natural death. But surely the doctors may be mistaken. He was so robust, so strong, I tell you. Mademoiselle, I beseech you to help me. The poor child. She was almost beside herself. I placed myself at her service without much ado. I will help you, mademoiselle. I feel sure your fears are unfounded, but we shall see. First, second, describe to me the inmates of your house. Well, there are the domestic, of course. There's Janine, there's Felisa, and Denise, who is a cook. She's been there for a long time. And then there are the country girls that live there. Also, there is Francine. She too is an old servant. Then Mrs. Delaware, which is the mother of Monsieur Delaware, and myself. I'm Virginie Resnard, a poor cousin of the late Mrs. Delaware, Monsieur Paul's wife. I think I have been there for over 3 years. I have described the household to you now. There were 2 guests. And they were Monsieur de Saint-Hilaire, who is a neighbor of Monsieur Delaware, a Prince. Also, there was an English friend. Her name is Jane Wilson. Are they still with you? Jane Wilson, yes, but Monsieur de Saint-Hilaire left yesterday. Very well. And mademoiselle, what is your plan? Well, if you can come by in about a half hour's time, I can arrange some sort of story for your presence. I think you should be involved in journalism. I will say you're from Paris and that you have come with a card of introduction from Monsieur de Saint-Hilaire. Mrs. Dellar is of very feeble health and sight, and she will pay little attention to detail. On Mademoiselle's ingenious pretext, I was admitted to the house, and after a brief interview with the dead deputy's mother, who was a wonderful, imposing, and aristocratic figure, although obviously inferior to her, I was given free use of the premises. I wonder, my friend, if you could possibly figure yourself the difficulties of my task.
A man whose death had taken place 3 days previously. If there had been foul play, it should have been evident. Was there no chance to see the body? No possibility to examine or analyze any medium in which to find the cause of death?
There were no clues, false or otherwise, to consider. Had the man died a natural death? Had the man been poisoned? It was of the eye, public, Poirot, with nothing to help him. I had to decide.
What did you do?
First, I interviewed the domestics, and with their aid, I reconstructed the evening. I paid special notice to the food at dinner. But nothing there, mon ami. Monsieur Paul had placed and served all of them. Impossible to poison one without poisoning them all.
What of the rest of the party?
Mademoiselle Virginie and Madame Delaware retired to their rooms after dinner. Now, Monsieur de Saint-Hilaire and his strangers and Monsieur Paul, they adjourned to Monsieur Paul's study, where, after a brief time, Monsieur went very red in the face and fell heavily to the floor. Now, Monsieur de Saint-Hilaire, he rushed out to fetch the doctor. But when the doctor arrived, the patient was past help. So far, there is nothing to support Mademoiselle Desnard's theory. Possibly a delusion on her part. It is obvious she had entertained a romantic passion for a lot. Oftentimes there were up to 10 boxes in the house, one in every room.
Oh. And yet, this box is untouched.
That it is, madame. Oh, you know, that box was purchased on the day of his death. The other box being nearly finished.
Ah. Since the other box was finished on the day of his death?
Oui, madame. I found it and I put it in the trash bin.
I began to see the light. Francie, you can be discreet.
With me, madame.
Bon. Know that I am of the police. Can you find me that other box?
I believe it should be in the trash can. It happens.
Hastings! The box is blue, the lid is pink. Ah. Dr. Watson, I presume? S'il vous plaît, can you explain to me what you have heard happened on the night in question? Gerard went very red in the face, and down he fell. What more is there to be found out? Yes, doctor. Tell me, have you ever had a case such as this before? Not personally, but there have been curious occurrences of the kind. A sudden fit of anger, a violent emotion, after a heavy dinner, say entendu, then with an excess of rage, blood flies to the head. And to use the medical term, there you are. What? I have heard, Monsieur Delroy, I have no violent emotion. No? I am sure he'd been having a stormy altercation with Monsieur de Saint-Allard. Why should he? It is evident. Mr. Saint-Allard was a Catholic of the most fanatical. Their friendship was being ruined by this question of church and state. Not a day passed without discussions. To Mr. Saint-Allard, Derrillard appeared almost as Antichrist. This gives me much food for thought. One more question, Doctor. Would it be possible to introduce a fatal dose of poison into a chocolate?
the symptoms of atrophy and poisoning bear no resemblance to those that I was studying. I was turning away discouraged when the chemist's voice called me back.
Un moment, Madame Poirot. I remember a girl who brought that prescription. She said something about having to go to the English gates. You might try there.
In France, you go to the English gates. Why is the point of having an English chemist in France? The French chemist is better.
You're right.
Please, tell me, do you have any prescriptions for the house of Paul Delarue?
Yes, ma'am. On the day before Monsieur Delarue death, I made a prescription for Mrs. Jane Wilson. Not that there was any making up about it. There was simply no tablets of trinitrate.
It is chocolate. It is poison encased in chocolate.
Yes, it is chocolate, but no, ma'am. It is not poison.
Can you describe to me its effects?
Well, it lowers the blood pressure. It is used for some forms of heart trouble. Angina pectoris, for instance. It would
These will it says nothing to me. Does it cause the face to flush?
Well, certainly it does.
And supposing I ate 10, 20 of your little tablets, what then?
I should advise you not to attempt it.
And yet, you say to me it is not poison?
There are many things not called poison, which can kill her. Being a detective, for instance.
I left the shop elated. At last, things had begun to march. I now knew that Jane Wilson had the means to the crime. But what about the motive? There was apparently in which no way Delarore's death would benefit her.
So did Wilson have a heart condition?
Indeed. I discovered by inquiries in England that she had suffered from some years from heart disease. Therefore, she had a genuine right to have those tablets in her possession. Nevertheless, I felt sure that someone had gone to the chocolate box. He had opened the full one first by mistake, and having abstracted the last chocolate, had crammed in and stirred as many little trinitrate tablets as it could hold.
Would there be enough room in the chocolate for a fatal dose?
The chocolates, they were large ones, between 10, 30, 90 tablets I felt sure could have been inserted.
But who would have done this? Yes, Jane Wilson had the means.
But Saint Allah had the motive. Remember, he was a fanatic, and there is no fanatic like a religious fanatic. Could he, by any means, have gotten hold of Jane Wilson's trinitrate?
Why did Wilson run out of trinitrate? Surely she would have brought an adequate supply from England.
I see you begin to use your little gray cells, my friend. I saw the girl who did it. Elise. I demanded of her immediately whether it was not true that Jane Wilson had lost a bottle from her washstand some time ago. Elise responded eagerly. It was quite true. She, Elise, had been there for it. The address of Monsieur de Saint Hilaire. Why do you want that, madam?
It is necessary, mademoiselle.
He can tell you nothing. His thoughts are not of this world. He barely recognizes anything that goes on around him.
That may be so, but he was an old friend of Monsieur de la Rose. There may be things he can tell me, things of the past, old grudges, old love affairs.
As you please, but I think I've been mistaken. It was good of you to accede to my demands, but I was so upset, almost distraught. I know now that there is no mystery to solve. Leave it, I beg of you.
Mademoiselle. Adolphe. But once he has found it, nothing on earth will make him leave it. That is, if he is a good dog. Now, I, mademoiselle, her please, Poirot, am a very good dog.
No more worries. I will fix the leak.
there may be some delay. Because she is better. About time you picked up something. Does your friend on pain you, my friend? No, it isn't. Madame Poirot is here. Madame Poirot. Madame, I have just learned that you are not the person you pretend to be. You're a police officer. That is so, madame. You are here to inquire into the circumstances of my son's death? That is also so, madame. I should be glad if you would tell me what progress you have made. First, I would like to know how you have come to learn all this. From one who's no longer in this world.
What has become of Virginie?
No. Therefore, madame, I beg you most urgently to tell me what progress you have made in your investigation. Madame, my investigation is finished. But my son, he was killed deliberately. You know by whom? Oui, madame. Who then? Monsieur de Saint-Alor. No, you are wrong. Monsieur de Saint-Alor is incapable of committing such a crime. I assure you, madame, my investigation was very good. I beg you once again to tell me all. I then went over each step that had led me to the discovery of the truth. Yes. It is all that you say it is, but for one thing. Monsieur de Saint-Alor did not kill my son. It was I, his mother. I killed my son. For you. It is the providence of the good God that Virginie told me before she left for the convent of what she had done.
Virginie's okay?
Hastings, I am in a scene. Listen, madame, my son was an evil man. He persecuted the church. He lived a life of mortal sin. And he dragged down other souls besides his own. But it was worse than that. I stepped out of my room in this house one morning, and I saw my daughter standing at the top of the stairs. She was reading a letter. Then I saw my son steal up behind her, and one swift push, she fell, hitting her head against the marble steps. When they picked her up, she was dead. My son was a murderer, and only I knew it. I could not conceive, madame, of my agony, my hurt. What should I have done? Denounce him to the police? I could not make myself do it. It was my duty, but my flesh was weak. Besides, who would believe me? My eyesight failing, they would say I was mistaken. I kept silent, but my conscience gave me no peace. And besides being silent, I too was a murderer. My son inherited his wife's money. He flourished like the green bay tree. His persecution of the church redoubled. Then there was Virginie, poor child, beautiful, naturally
quiet, she was fascinated by him. He had a strange and terrible power over her. I saw it coming, but there was nothing I could do. He had no intention of marrying her, and here she was, ready to give everything of hers to him. Then I saw my path clear. He was my son. I gave him life. I was responsible for him. He had already killed one woman's body. Now he wanted to kill another one's soul. I went into Mrs. World, and I took the bottle of tablets. She once laughingly said that it was enough in there to kill a man. Then I went into the study, and I opened a brand new box of candy that stood on the table. I opened a new box by mistake. There was another box on the table as well. It had one chocolate in it. Oh, it simplified things. My son and Virginie were the only ones that ate chocolate, and I would eat Virginie with me that night. All went as planned. I leave your hands, Madame. They say I only have a few days to live. I am willing to answer to my actions to the good God, but must I answer to them on earth as well?
But the bottle.
Madame, how came the bottle to be in Monsieur Saint Alar's possession?
He came to see me to tell me goodbye. I put it in his pocket. I did not know what to do with it. I'm so infirm that I cannot move around much without help. And I was afraid if they found an empty bottle in my room, they would be suspicious. You understand, Madame?
I comprehend.
And I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have a decision to make, I see.
And what did you do?
I thought that his valet would find it and throw it away without question.
Madame, I have made my decision.
And what is your decision?
I have the great honor of wishing you a good day. I have made my investigations, and I have failed. The matter is closed.
Mrs. Dillon! Get out of my chair and give me my hair!
She died.
So Mrs. Moreau walked free.
Yes, yes. But not very far. That is the story, my friend. I must admit, I do not make a fine figure in it.
That was hardly a failure. What else could you have thought, given the circumstances?
Oh, sacre! Is it that you do not see? But I was 36 times the idiot. My great friends, they functioned not at all. The whole time I had the true blue in my arms.
What clue?
The chocolate bombs! How can you not see? Oh, was there anyone in the household whose eyesight was such that they could not see which lid to replace? It was the chocolate box that had led me on this journey, and up until the end, I failed consistently to perceive its real significance. Also, my psychology was at fault. If Singallah had been the criminal, he would have never kept an incriminating bottle.
I said that.
Altogether, this has been a miserable affair of which I have accounted to you. Only to you have I accounted this to. You may understand, I do not make a fine figure in it. As the old lady commits a crime in such a simple and clever fashion that I, her gleeful role, am completely deceived. Sacristi! It does not bear thinking of. We shall forget it. Forget it. No! We shall remember it. And if at any time you believe that I am growing conceited, yes, it is not likely, but it might arise. You shall say to me, chocolate box. It is agreed?
It's a bargain.
Very good. After all, this was an experience. And I, who have undoubtedly the finest brain in Europe and the Americas and that little Australia, and Ireland project because there's not many people there. The finest brain in other folks. I can afford to be magnanimous.
What?
Pardon, mon ami.
Rita, nothing at all.
Very well.
take a moment to acknowledge those that we've lost. This year, Phil Nagel and Bob Shank. Phil has been in every production since the beginning of Carnegie, and he would have loved to have been up there with us tonight. And as long as I've been around, as long as Phil's been doing his antics on stage, Bob Shank has been in the audience recording. So it's been a big loss for both of them. Bob, Phil, this one was for you.
I guess this is my chance to do my last official act for this particular show. A number of years, well, several months ago, there was an idea. We needed to come up with a show to do for this spring. And some of us got together and landed on Poirot. So there was an idea. And we talked about it, and somehow or other I had a bit of a vision. And that vision, through dint of great work that I've had around me, was brought to a reality by this bunch. But it has been made a success by you. So if you would please join me in thanking our audience, and we hope to see you more in more of our plays. Have a good evening, be safe. Thank you so much.